Good afternoon and welcome to the match reaction. Up until about the 89th minute, we thought we got away with it, but, let's be fair, that was crap. With me today is Paul, who is hopefully going to cheer us all up, but I don't think that's going to happen either. Paul, Jesus, wet mate, that is the most maddest 1-1 I've ever seen in my life, and that summed up our season, didn't it? Could not hit an absolute barn door, and the one we do score is a worldie. And to be honest, if you're being brutally honest, look, it wasn't 2-1 at the end.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the irony is that our most difficult chance of the entire game is the one Mo puts away.
Correct. I mean, let's look at the positives. Let's line up. What was your thought of the lineup?
Well, yeah, it was interesting to hear Callum from Coppish on the Friday forecast last night absolutely nail that starting lineup, although he did say Simicast, so I was a bit like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, it was exactly as we were saying. I mean, I personally don't like that formation. And like you said to me on the WhatsApp during the game, it's like we saw the best and the worst of that formation, right? Where, you do leave a lot of gaps when you're not going forward. And it wasn't until the introduction of James Milner later on did it feel like we really had a proper stranglehold on the game and we properly controlled the game. But yeah, I mean, what else can you talk about apart from just how profligate we are in front of goal?
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, the point of playing 4-2-3-1 is, and City do it in a slightly different way, but they do it against the bottom half sides to blow them away. But I'm not being funny. Salah's clean through one-on-one, fluffs his lines. Sadio Mane's clean through, just tap it in, stands there and waits for the keeper to pick it up. I thought he was doing the back pass rule. I think he forgot. Jota just couldn't hit a barn door today. He just had one of those days. Actually, out of all the front three, Firmino, because he was playing the deep role, the link play was actually quite good. I mean, to be fair to him, I think the only one chance fell to Firmino. That was a real chance, which was a tight angle. But the misses are ridiculous. I mean, I will say one thing. It does dispel the myth that Liverpool can't create. Liverpool can create. Liverpool can't finish. It's a different thing. I've seen a few guys in the chat giving it out to the defence, saying defence can't do this, defence can't do that. This is not the day for blaming the defence. If you have that many chances and you finish 1-1, you deserve what you get. Because quite frankly, it was ridiculous. First half, that half could have been 5-2. It was, Alisson did his best to save both. There's no way you can blame Alisson. Look, we'll come to the winning goal, but, maybe Fabinho could do better with a header, but it's all if, buts, and maybes. Ultimately, I do think we've got ourselves to blame here a little bit. And as positive as I can be about Liverpool, I do feel like that's probably one drop too many now for the top four. I always felt they had to write off the United game because I think the United game, it is what it is. You may get a win, you may get a draw. We can, us at Old Trafford is not really viable, but you had to beat Leeds and Newcastle and then go into United is what it is, and then go into the last four going, right, that's your running. I think now, even if Liverpool won the last four, assuming you lose at United, doesn't feel like that's enough to me because I just don't see. I could see West Ham, one of West Ham or Leicester dropping enough points. I'm not sure I can see both.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I said it on Friday forecast last night. The only way, I've been of the opinion for a while, the only way that we really get top four is if like the arse falls out of Leicester like it did last season. And looking at their last couple of performances, they look like they're actually heading into a decent patch of form. Iheanacho's really caught fire for them in recent weeks. So yeah, I mean, it's out of our hands now. And there is an element of, like you said today, you get what you deserve in these situations and you've got to take your chances, but, we'll be there for the grace of God, basically, other than, our own performances. If we end up top four, it'll be because of other people's failings rather than our success.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll come here saying Klopp, Milner and Curtis to control the game, ? Christ. If I'm being perfectly honest, if you watch the first half, and look, I'm not calling you out here, but I feel like it's the same. Let's just blame the not so popular lads. Because for me, when Milner came on, we still had lots of chances, and Saint-Maximin went quiet. He went quiet once Milner came on, and Jones came on. I think he came on for legs for Thiago. Actually, to me, Thiago played very well. I think it was a legs thing, and Jones was neat and tidy. At the end of the day, it's a set piece, and that's where we need to work on. But I'm sorry, Salah, Mane, Jota, you're all getting, to me, there's your reason why we haven't won the game. All the other stuff is just semantics and just like nitpicking and agendaing who you like and who you don't like. At the end of the day, Salah will get to his goal. Which is a beauty. he misses too many. He missed too many easy chances today. Mane's misses were horrendous, and Jota, he just wasn't on it today. Which can happen. I mean, I think Jota now has no goals in 5. Mane, he's not scored at home since the West Brom game. Salah's the only consistent goal scorer, but even he's having his moments. So I actually thought the game started quite well. The goal, it's like what you see in a FIFA game. It's ridiculous.
Stunning.
Touch, turn, impact. I mean, that's instinctive. That is what Mo Salah is all about. He's about instinct and going from there. And then to be honest, if anything after that, I thought it woke up Newcastle. Kabak, I was a little concerned because he did the Sunday League, I'm going to crock your best player. And he certainly had a good go at Saint-Maximin to take him out. But to be fair to him, actually, being on a yellow so early, I thought he controlled himself quite well. Saint-Maximin, for me, is what people think Amanda Traore is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When he came to Newcastle, he was all pace and tricks, but that's all he was, and an occasional good game. He's now got a purpose in his game. So every trick, every pass, every burst of pace, it's to win a free kick. It's to set up a chance. It's got end product. You could see why if he was playing regularly for Newcastle this year, if Paul hadn't had COVID, I think you see Newcastle comfortably mid-table. He's that sort of a game changer. It's ridiculous how good he is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the insinuation was like he's actually got long COVID at the moment, so he's not exactly what you would call like absolutely fully match fit. So imagine him when he is fully match fit, and I totally love that analogy of like Saint-Maximin is what people think Traore is, because I personally think like with Traore, there's a lot of like hype about the way he looks because he looks like Mike Tyson. But, I actually think that kind of physique will hold him back in his career longer term. It's a bit like a mixed martial artist, for example, or a boxer. It's like you go in with that much weight. You've got to carry that weight round for 90 minutes, week after week. So, Saint-Maximin is a very good facsimile of what Traore would be if he wasn't carrying all of that weight and had a little bit more end product about him. Because you look at the underlying stats for Traore, they're absolutely shocking. He doesn't do anything. No. He looks good. He's great on a YouTube highlight reel. But Saint-Maximin has a lot more end product, and I can actually see clubs being in for him in the summer because he just offers you this live wire where there were times today when he was unplayable. He was difficult to contain. And, talking to the comments there about like bringing Milner and Curtis Jones on to control the game, I thought when Milner came on, like you said, he just disappeared. Like we took him out the game with that substitution. I thought it was incredibly clever at that stage of the game to try and, manage the game and also get a bit of solidity in there and negate some of the disadvantages of the 4-2-3-1 and get it back to that sort of like nominal 4-3-3 basically and keep the spaces, in between the lines, because Saint-Maximin was great at like breaking through the press, breaking through the midfield line and creating all sorts of space. And you mentioned Kabak as well. I personally think he's getting better and better by the game. I think he's looking really, really good now. I think he's looking really decent. I've got no problem with a bit of shithousery, if I'm being honest. Like I enjoyed that Fabinho yellow card towards the end of the game, to be honest with you. I don't mind the dark arts at all. But that's where Saint-Maximin puts you in that position,
Yeah, that's what I thought. I like that side of it. And to be fair, Milner's very good at that. I mean, we even saw when he gets accidentally clipped by Saint-Maximin, he stays down for a minute. And I was like, whoa. But then Genie, to be fair to him, used his brain and stopped the medic coming. I said, no, give him a minute. It was just kill the moments, and I thought we'd done enough to kill the moments. So, I mean, chances. Which ones do you want to talk about?
I've lost count. I can't remember them all.
Salah, I can remember clean through, shoot straight to Dubravka, which has been a bit of a theme this year. Salah gets clean through, squares it to Mane. Mane takes a touch, has a fag, sits down, watches the world go by, and the keeper picks it up. I don't know what went through his brain at that point. Jota has just been quite wasteful the last 3 or 4 games. I mean, I've seen quite a few in the comments saying they're all wasteful. I mean, apart from the last 4 or 5 games, Jota's been fairly clinical for us. I think he's going for a bit of a spell. I mean, look, I said in the Friday forecast, I'd have started Shaqiri over Mane, just because I just think the lad needs a rest. Bobby, for me, in that deeper role, actually looked all right. I thought he looked better second half, because I think the one problem first half was we needed one of the front 4 to drop back a bit deeper when we were off the ball, because that's how we were getting overrun. But look, let's credit Newcastle. I think... what's his name? The ginger-haired lad.
Longstaff.
Longstaff, went clean through it. Good pass to Ernst. Top save by Alisson. And then again, Saint-Maximin nearly puts Joe Linton through, but luckily for us, Almiron gets in his way, and Kabak again steps in front and clears it. So half time, I was a bit like, I hope this isn't the Leeds repeat, but you can't keep creating that. At some point, you go, surely if you get another chance like that, you'll take them. The second half was just rinse, repeat. Let's see how we go, because God, they were. I'm trying to find a positive. I mean, the only positive you can say is we're creating chances, but they're not taking them. It's hurting us at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, in those types of performances, and this is a rinse repeat, not just of the Leeds performance, this is a rinse repeat of many performances this season. And let's face it, across the years, there's an element of reverting to type with all of this. Like, we've seen this so many times from so many different Liverpool teams over the years. And, I all go all the way back to, remember the time when Kenny was in charge the second time, and we went through that spell of like, all we did was hit the post. All we did was hit the bar. And it's like, at this point, it's like, at what point is it these players are going through a bit of a spell? Or is it like, once it goes past being just bad luck and just a bit of a spell, into like, what's going on the training ground here? Like, what's going on? Are we not like, are we not practicing finishing? Are we coaching these players in a slightly different way and it's not quite hooking up? There's got to be some sort of underlying cause of it, because you can't just rely on one of these players being hot like we have done in recent seasons. Because if you think about it, like during the title win last season, we had, if Mo was off, Mane was on. If Mane and Mo were off, Bobby was on. And everyone had their little purple patch, and they all seemed to kind of coordinate with one another, and the midfield were chipping in with goals. The goals from midfield have completely dried up this season, and everyone just seems to have just, put the flip-flops on, basically, in terms of like finishing in front of goal. So it does make you ask the question, like, is there something else sort of going on with training or concentration levels or something like that? I mean, you could come up with all kinds of, potential explanations for it, but there's definitely more than just a bad patch going on here.
No, I mean, a lot of people think it's an excuse when I say it, but I do think the structure we have in terms of who is not there does have an impact, because people are going on about the high line. The high line wasn't really an issue. It was the lack of press in the middle. Well, why have you got lack of press in the middle? It's because your two best pressers, Henderson and Fabinho, aren't in the middle. And they're not in the middle because one's injured and the other one is covering for our 8th choice centre-back being injured. So there are those factors. And look, you've got to adapt. You've got to work for it. But I mean, that, to me, that formation, that team, it worked in the sense that it cut Newcastle open enough. That game should have been easily a 5-2 game. And do you know what? I'd have took that. Listen, I was hoping if it's finished 1-0 thing, and look, we've got away with it, that might actually do us some good. We've ground the results out, but it's silly draws. And to us, draws aren't the end of the world, but it's the number of silly points dropped, which is going to frustrate us. Look, I've seen quite a few people saying, welcome to the Europa League. You can't even bank on that at the moment.
To be honest with you, I don't even want Europa League. I'd rather just not be in it at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I think financially, as we've seen with what's going on last week, I think the club needs some sort of money coming in. And I think even Europa League money they'd want.
Yeah.
The only thing, if we get a Europa League, is I would argue Liverpool need a bigger squad than they needed for a Champions League. Because we all know what the Europa League does to you. And we all know you need a big squad.
No, absolutely. I mean, going back to like the performances and stuff, like for me, I think we played worse against Crystal Palace away and battered them 7-0. I mean, honestly, I thought we played better today as a collective. The interplay at times was absolutely gorgeous to watch. It's easy to lose that in the frustration of the results, that the quality of the performance, barring the finish, was actually fantastic. But again, you don't, not to sound like a broken record, when you're that profligate in front of goal, you're going to pay for it, and we're paying for it time and time again. And, it makes you wonder, like, I've been to games where it's been like that. And, the fans often kind of get on the back of the players a little bit, and then either it sorts itself out or it gets worse, but you could feel that anxiety again in the last 5 or 10 minutes. You could almost hear the players, or you could almost feel the players going, oh, here we go again. Like it was almost out of their control a little bit, you know what I mean? So there's certainly a lot more to say about that in terms of the psychology of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know social media is a bit of a minefield of what things are, because I've already seen, season's over, we need a brand new, complete rebuild. And I'm looking at going,
nah.
If you said to me, you have The rumour is you've signed Canati. That's the rumour. So you start that team with Canati and Van Dijk. You play Fabinho in the middle with Thiago and a Henderson, a Milner, a whoever you want to play. And then you bring in whoever the new forward is. Are you that far? I would say Liverpool aren't that far off then.
Not far off at all. I
no,
think,
it's an evolution, which I think did start last summer. It's just unfortunate with what's gone on this year, it hasn't quite. It's just not happened,
Not yet.
And I think people keep going crisis and all. I think sometimes we just have to swallow your medicine. We've had 3 or 4 years of really, really top football. You're gonna, this is our dip. Maybe this is our dip year. Sadly, our dip year looks like it's going to be outside the Champions League. Fine, dust yourselves off and let's move on again and kick on again. I'm sure it'll improve at some point. People keep, people like the hyperbole, people like the hot takes, and this is the end of it.
And especially after this week as well, with so much hyperbole and nonsense being chatted about Super Leagues, and everyone's attitude and everyone's kind of mood is a bit hot anyway. You've got to be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. And again, you have to think in terms of like the market. Like, even if we were to throw everyone under the bus and start again, that's going to be another 2-year project for us to get back to that stage with an entirely new team. And let's be realistic. Nobody's got that much money. No one's going to be buying these players, especially at the prices that we would want for them, regardless of where we're going to finish. So just as like what I said last night, whether we like it or not, FSG are the owners we have right now, and that's kind of it. Like, we're going to have to, as I say, work with these people, whether we like it or not. And we're going to have to work with this team, whether or not we like it. And, obviously we can make tweaks and we can evolve things. But when everyone's on the pitch and everyone's playing to their level, we are right up there. I mean, let's not forget, we were top on Christmas Day. And we were top on Christmas Day without some of our best players. There is an element of like, everyone likes to talk about, this always happens in like the 5th year of a Klopp thing because they look at Dortmund. And there's a fundamental misunderstanding about what happened there. Rafa Honigstein, who you mentioned last night on the Friday forecast, he did a great article for The Athletic talking about how the players actually didn't burn out at Dortmund. The players felt fantastic. They loved the training. In fact, they were asking for more. And it was actually the fact that you can't get a 28 or a 30-year-old to run through a wall for you the way you can get a 22 or a 23-year-old to, without question. And sometimes you need to provide a reason why a 30-year-old should run through a wall. So it's just the stage of the careers that some of these players are at, and some of them are naturally kind of like just getting past their peak. But what we were great at doing in years past, like back in the 80s and the 70s, was when those players just started to come off their peak a little bit, we moved them on, or we changed the way that we played, or we brought other personnel in. And that's kind of like the summer that we're heading towards now. Like, Klopp is now full on in the process of trying to build his second great Liverpool team. It's going to contain elements of the first great Liverpool team, but there's going to be a transition in here somewhere. And I think we're just going to have to accept that this is kind of a period of transition for us in a way.
Yeah, comment here saying fourth might not be enough anyway because it depends on how Arsenal and Chelsea. It is true. The misnomer with the Arsenal thing is if Arsenal win Europa League, politely, it makes absolutely no difference because the Europa League, if you win it, is you get an extra spot. Where you're knackered is if Liverpool finish fourth and Chelsea don't finish top 4 and win the Champions League, that's where you miss out because that's the rule change after we did it in 2005. From 2006, fourth place misses out. So it is right. The misconception of the Europa League is if you win the Europa League, you get a Champions League spot. So like England, Spain, Germany can have up to 5, and that is a little bit of a misnomer. I'm seeing a lot of this at the moment. He's out. Let's wait and see. I mean, the Kabak thing, I don't get. He's a 21-year-old lad.
20.
And yeah, so he's 20-year-old lad. He's going to be, if we sign him, 4th choice centre back. Quite frankly. As 4th choice centre back, I have no problems with. I'd be no problems with that. Actually, today I think he's a 20-year-old lad. He's basically being told to be the main centre back. I think he's doing well. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. Is he going to make mistakes? He's 20. Of course he does. Not be funny. Reece Williams is a year younger, and he looks miles off. You put it in comparison. Reece Williams is 19 and has played a handful of first team as well. Kabak's had 2 years first team football and has played European football. I think people sometimes just need to rinse back a little bit. In terms of the other ones, Ronaldo, well, we know he's off. his contract's up. Big surprise there. Origi, probably. He was trying to last night. And Keita, yeah, you're probably right. The question will always be is, how much you getting for him?
Well, there is an interesting rumour that I saw this morning of apparently Dortmund are interested in Keita and Origi together and apparently willing to throw a player swap into that. So the rumour is at the moment that could be the Sancho deal with us throwing 20 million on top. And that would potentially be a deal. I think you're going to see more deals like this in the summer, quite frankly, because I don't think money is exactly easy to come by with everything that's happened in the last year or so. So I think you're going to see a lot more player swaps go on in the market this summer.
Yeah, or unofficial player swaps.
Undisclosed fee.
Yeah, undisclosed fee, or let's face it, we gave Hull Kev Stewart for 8 million. They gave us Robson for 8 million. It's basically a player swap. It's just an accountancy trick while they do it. But I think that's probably going to be the way. It's going to be beg, borrow, and steal. But look, the pressure will be on the owners. I've seen a few saying serves the owners right. Now they won't get their Super League money. Yeah. In fact, I understand the sentiments, but who does that hurt more? It doesn't hurt the owners.
No,
it hurts us. So, ultimately, what can we do? Let's see. What's this one? I'm not down with the case. IDC. I don't know what that means.
I don't care.
Thank you. Fab is playing at centre back anymore. Our forwards need to score. Period. Well, yeah, it is. I mean, but if Fab doesn't play centre back, would you have started Reece Williams and Kabak? Feels like a bigger risk to me.
Much bigger risk. And I think it tells you a lot about where Ben Davies is in the pecking order, where that's concerned.
The Mirage.
Yes, the Mirage. That as the day he signed, I said you'll never see him in a red shirt because this feels like Andy Lonergan all over again. I think he's there to keep the level up in training, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be surprised if you never see him in a red shirt. And if you do, you might see him on the last day if there's nothing riding on it.
I don't think you'll even see him then.
No, probably not. No. But there you go.
It is a bit mad. He's not even on the bench. I do find that a bit bad. Oh God! Right.
Yeah.
So, at least we've only got Man United last. So
not too drastic to look forward to.
No. Should we play that team again? Should we go 4-2-3-1? See what happens.
May as well. I mean, at this stage, it's just like, you know what? We may as well just go balls to the wall and go down in flames, as far as I'm concerned. And that's a very Klopp thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Where he's like, well, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? Let's have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go and have some fun and deal with it,
Cool. So realistically, what do we think is going to happen long term? Well, long term, this summer. Let's have some summer chat. I'm sure we're going to have more of this. Yeah. And I don't know when you may going to be allowed on a transfer show. So we best we can talk it now for 5 minutes. So what do you want? What do you think we'll get? Because I know they could be two different things.
Yeah. I mean, the Konate deal is fantastic as far as I'm concerned because I think he is far superior to Upamecano at Leipzig, and I think obviously Upamecano is going to Munich. I think we're getting the better end of that. I would like Kabak to be signed. I think he's done enough for me, and I can very much imagine him playing next to Van Dijk next season, and Van Dijk doing that Van Dijk thing where he gets 2 or 3 extra levels out of a player just by having him next to him. I mean, let's face it, Van Dijk made Lovren look like, a good defender. Like, if he can do that, he can do anything, quite frankly. So I think Kabak comes in. I think you might see the end of Joel Matip, just because of his injury record and the fact that he is very, very unreliable. So I think our starting for centre-backs next season will be Van Dijk, Konate, Kabak, and Joe Gomez when he's available. And then from there, I think I thought Thiago was man of the match today. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And I think we've got something to build on with him. I think you'll see more of Curtis Jones for sure. Obviously, Wijnaldum will be off, so there may well be a replacement in for that. I would actually quite like to see Yves Bissouma from Brighton come into that role. I think he's got something where that's concerned.
That's my door.
And that is your doorbell. Is that my time up? Because your doorbell is gone.
My wife will get that, don't worry. Always the way, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And then up front, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know because I think I rate the 4 of them so highly. I like this 4-2-3-1 because it takes the the stress off Bobby having to be a source of goals, and it just allows him to be Bobby, if you know what I mean. But it's like, how much of that have we got left? Have we got another season of that, or do we have to look at him and say, like, his race has run a little bit and we need someone who's going to contribute a little bit more clinically in front of goal? But I agree with what your sentiments were before about, Kanate, big centre back upgrade, and then someone up front. I would like to see potentially, more left back competition for Andy Robbo, because it looks like Tsimikas isn't really going to cut it.
I mean, you'd also like to see a right back cover.
Yeah,
just give not even. So sometimes, I mean, people in the comments will go berserk at this now, but if he's fit, maybe that's what Joe Gomez is going to start to be. Mm-hmm. He's a third choice centre back / backup right back. Now, look, we don't like him there, but it's solid. It does a job, and it's not out of this world, because we've seen Pep and other people play at someone who's a pacey centre back at fullback. The question we've got really is, I think what we've got to be realistic is Van Dijk is not going to play every game next year. I think it's unrealistic coming off an ACL. Oh yeah, he'll be back to normal. I hope he is, and if he is, brilliant.
And Gomez as well, with the severity of his injury as well.
Exactly. So I think that's why you need a Kanate, a Kabak, a Van Dijk, so you can kind of mix, match, and rotate a little bit. Also, if we are going to be in Europa League next year, maybe you say, Gomez, Kabak, you are our centre backs for the Europa League. Crack on, build a relationship. And do you know what? Maybe that's what you need to do. We definitely will replace it. There will be a gene replacement in. Whether that is a like for like, I'm suspicious to know if that is, because I wonder if we may go for a number 10 style forward, which is still doing 4-2-3-1, but more of a midfielder as a 10 rather than the 4 forwards. Me personally, I think of the forwards, it probably does need freshening up now. I know people would say, like, an ideal world, you bring a forward and you make, say, Bobby or Mane the sub, but I just don't see Liverpool financially keeping that front three, Jota, and another big name on the bench. I just don't see us having 5 top players on the bench. This is, if we can. If you tell me Bobby's going to be a regular sub next year, sound, because you know what, we've seen he can still do it. I mean, there's some here. I've seen some shots for Klopp to be out. Oh, overhaul the whole team, overhaul the coaching staff. Again, everyone's entitled to an opinion, but come on, let's
be serious here, like.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think people just need to look. No one likes being in this situation, but I've seen Liverpool be in much, much worse situations than this.
Absolutely.
But I think you hit the nail on the head, because of what's happened in the last week. That these 2 results feel a bit rawer. You'll never know over Crystal. If there hadn't been the Super League chat, would they still have got these games done to a win? Maybe. Because let's be fair, pre-match, post-match, half-time, we all know what the talk was. That's all Klopp got asked about. So it's still a distraction, which basically didn't need to be there. And that rumour will always be there now. Did that cause us to drop points? But look, end of the day, Liverpool finished 1-1. We are currently 1 point off 4th. Obviously, all the teams around us have got a game in hand. So the joys. I think we all have to hope today. Let's hope today. If Chelsea West Ham is a draw, technically you've got away with it again. You give yourself another lifeline, but I don't know how many more lifelines we could afford to keep giving ourselves. But listen, tomorrow we'll have the fat back 4, so we'll have Gav, Keith, Grizz, I think Shawnee as well. So I'm sure they'll be dissecting this result and how we're going forward. We'll still have the forum on Monday. There will be a carnage. Jamie will have a midweek fix, and then I will be back on Friday with a Friday forecast. Which what else can go wrong, eh? So listen, look, we all know it's shit at the moment. But you know what? Head up, keep going, and I'm sure going forward it will get better. Until then, Paul, thanks for coming on at short notice, mate. And to those using the chat, keep plugging on, keep subscribing, and let's help ourselves get to that magic number of 10,000. See you all very soon.